Hey, Brian here with worshiptutorials.com. This is a free preview lesson, a full lesson from the Worship Manual Volume 2. The Worship Manual is a series of online courses that we've developed for worship leaders, anyone in leadership in church over praise and worship. Volume 2 is over 9 hours of video training content. This lesson comes from Module 3, which is all about rehearsals. This is a big module, very important. And in this lesson specifically, we're talking about how to have effective rehearsals at your church. Hey, hit the link below if you want to learn more about the Worship Manual. Here's the free lesson.
All right, so we are deep in the middle of this module on rehearsing, which we are very passionate about, if you didn't pick up on that from the first two videos. But one thing that's really important is, as the leader, if you are the leader, or if you work closely with the leader, it's really important to really have a firm grasp on what a rehearsal is, how to do it effectively, and have a vision for the actual rehearsal itself. Otherwise, things can go really south, and it can actually be counterproductive to your ministry. And you might think, well, how can a rehearsal be counterproductive? Well, if it's not well organized, if there's not vision for it, if the facility's not good, if things aren't prepared, there's a lot of reasons where rehearsals could actually push your team away.
Yeah.
So this is really important.
It's always a hot mess.
Yeah, it could make what's bad even worse. You don't want to do that. You want to take what you have now and make it better. And so this module, if there's any video of this module to watch, this is the one you need to. I'm glad you're watching, because this is going to lay out for you as the leader what your perspective should be on the rehearsal concept, so that you can be the vision caster and you can be the person that's inspiring your team and driving towards that excellence, so you can avoid all those other mistakes.
So first thing that you need to do as an effective leader is communicate well. And we
talk about this a lot, don't we?
Yeah, we do. You need to communicate your vision for rehearsals, and you need to communicate that you are building this culture. Could be new culture that you're building, or it could be just keep building the culture that you've got going on. And that culture needs to be one of preparation, of excellence, but you as a leader, you need to be really, really good and consistent about communicating this. And this is more than just hey guys, we're rehearsing and it's important that we rehearse because it helps us. Like, you need to communicate. You need to communicate like very specific details to people. Where are you doing it? When you're doing it? What is expected of you as a volunteer? Like, you're communicating to your volunteers what's expected, what songs you're doing, what arrangements you're doing, what keys you're doing them in. Give them resources to listen to it, prepare, show up to rehearsal prepared. But you need to think of it this way: you cannot over communicate.
Yeah, just saying the word rehearsal strikes up imagery in everyone's mind.
Yeah.
Every person on your team, when you say the word rehearsal, especially if you're not rehearsing now and you want to start rehearsing, the moment you say, hey guys, we're going to start rehearsing.
Yeah.
Automatically people are going to be painting their pictures in their mind, and they probably will be not optimized. They will probably be the worst versions.
If they are people that have served in churches before, I guarantee you, everyone who's served
traumatic
for more than just this long, people have really bad rehearsal experiences.
They really do. And
you've got to buck that trend.
Yeah, so let's help you do that right now. First thing is this: after you've casted a clear vision and all of those things, creating this culture of excellence and kind of painting the why, the one thing I've seen this over and over and over and over again, and it's so easy to fix, is punctuality.
Yeah.
Okay? People, don't disrespect people by saying you're going to start at a certain time, but then every time that time comes around, nobody's ready.
Right.
That is the number one thing that's going to immediately drive people crazy.
Yeah.
All right, we're having rehearsal. We've all agreed Wednesday night, 6:30. I'm here. It's Wednesday.
That's when we rehearse, by the way.
It's 6:30 on a Wednesday, and half our team's not here.
Yeah.
Or the board's not even on. Or I don't even know where the worship leader is. Like, that's the worst. That's like the cardinal sin of leadership. your volunteers are there and you're not there, or maybe you're a volunteer. Either way, you're the leader. So you got to be above everybody else as far as you got to be there before they're there. And punctuality is the one thing that it just sets the tone immediately.
Yeah.
We haven't even started yet, and it's already messed up.
Already off the rails.
And this is one of their main frustrations.
Yeah.
When I talk to people, what do you hate about rehearsals?
Yeah.
The thing is always like, well, it's supposed to be from 6 to 9, I'm getting home at 11.
Yeah.
Or, people have arranged their schedules. They've moved things. You know what? I've changed my daughter's dance class. Mm-hmm. She wanted to do ballet, but now she's doing jazz because jazz is on Tuesday, ballet is on Wednesday. We've changed. That's a big deal, but we've done that so that we can be a part of this thing. Yeah. And now I'm showing up and nobody's ready.
Yeah. And so not only start, but Fuller's getting a little passionate over here.
Jeez, man. Because if you do that to me, I'm done.
Yeah.
After a while, I'm like...
And if Fuller is on your team as a volunteer, you lucked out. He's like the best musician I've ever had a relationship with in my life. Okay. But here's the thing.
People do that all the time. They move stuff around.
You've got to end on time.
End on time, which is... I don't know what's harder for people, starting on time or ending on time. I think starting on time might be harder.
Probably because we're musicians and musicians are always late.
But then ending on time is also really hard for musicians.
If you don't do this, this is a matter of respecting people, valuing people.
Yes.
Okay. If you don't do this, if you don't value people in this way, the highest caliber volunteers that you have on your team, the ones that you want the most, will be the first to leave.
That's right.
Because those kinds of people, and however you feel about what I just said, those kinds of people, some people go through life at a higher level of excellence than others. It's just the truth.
Why? Because they're showing up on time. Because they're doing all these things.
And part of why that and anybody can be one of these people. Some people just choose not.
It takes no talent.
Part of what that is they respect and value their time.
That's it.
Because that is the most important commodity to anybody.
It is so important.
And so if you don't respect people's time, this might hurt to say, but it's true, and we've seen it over and over, and the highest value people you have are going to be the first to leave.
And if you're watching this right now, and maybe you're like on the fence with rehearsals.
And it'll be your fault.
Yeah.
If you're the one not making it happen.
If you're watching this right now and you're saying to yourself, I think they're making a little bit too big a deal out of this punctuality thing, just stop watching the rest of the videos.
We're not.
Because none of the other advice we give you is gonna make a difference. This is the key to life. Is being punctual. It's very respectful, and you will be amazed at how your community gets transformed when punctuality becomes something that everyone values.
And if you want to know a funny little behind the scenes side note, Fuller, for the last when I was employed at New Hope, Fuller was my boss. Fuller, obviously, punctuality is important to him.
Yes.
It's one of the most important things to do, actually.
Yeah.
Punctuality is one of the things that I struggle with the most in my life. So behind the scenes, here's what you got to know. For years, the two of us have been in a situation where you're like my boss, and I struggle to show up on time to stuff. So just know that happens.
I don't remember you ever being...
Well, you know what? I made it...
You're always an hour early, so when you're late, you're still 30 minutes early.
Well, that's how we'd have to do stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
But this is a thing that I have struggled with in the past. And it's funny because I've had to fight that when I was on staff at New Hope. I really had to fight it.
And is your life better now that you are more punctual?
Well, of course.
Exactly.
And whenever you show up late, you never show up late and you're like, I don't care. You always are like, why didn't I get up 15 minutes earlier? Or leave. Why didn't I think to myself, there is always traffic.
That's right.
Right? You don't want to be the guy that every time you go somewhere, your excuse is, there was traffic on I-40. That's the main interstate. There's always traffic on I-40.
That's right.
Factor it in, You don't want to be that guy.
When I resigned from my last post at New Hope, one of the things I said to the team was, after 9.5 years, the things I'm most proud of.
It's in the Sunday vlog. Check it out.
50 weeks in a row for 9.5 years.
Yes.
I was never late to a Sunday morning.
Yes. Never late.
And that was my greatest accomplishment, honestly. So I know we've we've hit this one on the head a lot, and we probably talk about it in a lot of the other modules, but nail this one. If you can nail this one, your team will be more excited about rehearsal, because if they know they can start at 6:30 and they're walking to their car at 9:01, you will have a lot less frustration.
Right.
So the next thing is, and this is really important, and this comes down again to each person's leadership, but it's being prepared.
You as the leader.
Yeah, and now some of this might start sounding familiar from Worship Manual Volume 1. We talked about the 3 P's of success. Punctuality and preparedness. But when it comes to rehearsal, always being prepared is... Yeah, this is so critical. I always say it like this. Nobody likes more of something that's bad. So if your Sunday morning's disorganized and now you're just rehearsing, you're just adding more disorganization to their schedule, no one's going to get excited about that. But we don't want to just tell you be prepared. We want to tell you how practically to be prepared. One of the things you can do is just make an itinerary. What's an itinerary, Brian?
It is a schedule of events that is going to happen very specifically.
And who determines that, Brian?
You do.
It's that easy?
Oh, yeah.
I just decide?
You can do that.
I just decide.
You have the power.
I just decide. This is very freeing because if you're in control, you know, you can look at and go, okay, 6:30 to 9. And our next module has some samples. There's some samples attached to this module as well.
We've done content on this before.
We have. There's several videos out there.
Links for all of this
It's
stuff.
so important that we can't stop talking about it. And I'm like to the point where I'm like, hey, if you can't come up with it, we'll give you ours. Like just for your team's sanity.
Take it and steal it.
Take it, use it exactly. But having an itinerary is very important because when you start putting stuff on paper, it gives you it gives you the framework for knowing, all right, how much time do we have to spend? Because you'll be surprised how fast 30 minutes goes.
Oh, yeah.
And like if you don't have that accounted for, it's going to just be like, oh, we had Devo, but Devo ran an hour and 15 minutes. And so what most people do, well, now rehearsal's just going to run late. No. If your Devo goes 30 minutes late, guess what? That's 30 minutes that you're cutting from something. You're not keeping people past 9.
Your Devo time might be worth that too.
It might be. We've had nights where we've actually had such a great Devo that we were like, you know what, we're not even going to rehearse tonight. This was such a sweet, rich time.
Right. Usually our Devo's in the middle.
We put it in the middle now.
So like we cut off the last part.
And you'll see that when you click on the sample. The sample for it. So. The other thing too, I think, to be very prepared is to have what I call a micro purpose. You know, we have the big vision for why we rehearse. Everyone knows that, right? It becomes a no-brainer, and soon part of your culture is just like rehearse. It's just what we do. But having a micro rehearsal is nice, and this is like maybe you've noticed this happened to me a couple years ago. I just felt like we weren't spending enough time with the vocals. You know, and it was like we were spending a ton of time with the band, but then the vocals were kind of like, And so I made it like my goal for a season. It was like a 4 or 5 month season where I'm like, we're going to spend extra time with the vocals. And we're maybe carve out. We actually did this thing now where we had an extra we actually added an extra half hour to rehearsal because we talked to everyone and they said they could do it. So we do 6 to 6:30 where just the vocalists get together. And so that becomes kind of like our micro purpose. Or maybe our micro purpose tonight is, you know what, we're doing a new feature song. And it's brand new, so we're going to focus the majority of our rehearsal on that song. So whatever little reasons you have, it's nice to have small reasons inside of the big reasons for rehearsing so that you have some focus and direction. But again, this is decided by you. Otherwise, it'll just accidentally happen. Like the guitar players will go rogue and suddenly they're spending 20 minutes of your rehearsal working on harmonized guitar solos when you're like, that's not important.
It is if you're in an 80s metal band.
It is if you're an 80s metal band. Or maybe you're doing a Thin Lizzy cover and you're like, you know what, we need to spend 30 minutes tonight working on harmonized guitar solos. You know?
They are awesome.
They are awesome.
I will say they are pretty sweet when you pull them off.
Yes.
I'll say too, this idea of preparation. You as the leader, you need to be the most prepared person in the room.
Amen.
Musically, for whatever it is that you're going to execute.
Amen.
So most of this has been talking about like preparing the team or having a prepared schedule. You also need to know everything about the music.
Amen.
And if you know everyone's part, even better.
That's right.
Because you can, as a music director, because that's probably another role you have whether you realize it or not, you can speak into the piano players playing something that doesn't fit. Like you're playing guitar and the piano player is playing something that doesn't fit. You can coach them. The drummer is doing something that doesn't work. You can coach them. But you at least need to have, I mean, what would look the worst is if you go to play a song and you play it wrong and you're the leader.
Oops.
Like, you lose respect from people.
That's gonna hurt.
And it's really,
that'll cost you.
It is really hard to get that back.
That's right. And now, if you've created a culture of humility where people just know you're a humble person, you'll have a lot more grace. But if you're like one of those overconfident, arrogant guys,
and it's not like you can never make a mistake.
No, of course.
Like, I make mistakes all the time.
I do too.
As a leader, I'll play a part wrong,
like,
whatever.
Oopsie.
But making a mistake and not knowing a song are two totally different things.
Yeah.
So just make sure that you're prepared music. Spend the time that it takes. This role requires it of you. It's not something that you should do. It is required of you to do this. If you can't, this might not be the role for you.
Well,
but
the cool thing,
because you're here.
And the cool thing is, that might be overwhelming. What I love about the Worship Manual Volume 2 is Module 5 is about music theory.
Yeah.
And so in that module, we're going to help you learn some of these things to make you better at doing this.
Yeah.
Another aspect, want to complete the 3 Ps, is professionalism. Professionalism, what is that? To me, professionalism is... it's like a courtesy.
Yeah.
It's like the way I talk to you. It's the way I present myself. When you walk into my rehearsal at 6:30, I've been there since 5 because I've been making sure the temperature's right, making sure there's some music playing, making sure the mood is set, making sure there's no trash there. Like, I'm creating a professional environment for you.
Yeah.
And that's just one aspect. Another aspect is, hey, when we're having trouble with the sound, or I'm not yelling at the sound guy. I'm saying, hey bro, what can I do to help you? You know, it's approaching everyone in a very professional manner, like you would a business partner or someone you're trying to do business with, you know, or a job interview. You don't want to get too chummy with people. That's why the devotion time is cool, because you can kind of connect with people at a deeper level. But when it comes to the running of the rehearsal, you know, just having the printed itineraries, having direction, casting vision with the emails, all that stuff comes into this professional environment. And that is one of those things that other people have had terrible experiences with.
Yes.
What you said, knowing your songs.
Yeah.
If you don't know your songs, you are coming off as unprofessional. Yeah. And you might be thinking, well, I don't get paid. I'm not a professional. That's a different definition of professionalism.
It doesn't matter.
I'm talking about the whole aspect of being a professional. Whether you get paid or not, you should act like a professional. Does not matter.
Professionalism.
And I will say this, the more you embrace the idea of being a professional, the more likely you are to get paid for something. Yeah. You know, because the cream always rises to the top. But being professional is really important.
There's a whole other...
oh my goodness.
Not even lesson, like course that I feel like we could make
how to be professional.
Like how to get ahead in life.
Oh wow.
By acting like you were ahead in life already. Exactly. And then people who are ahead, well, anyway.
Yep.
Well, I mentioned earlier about like how you can lose high caliber volunteers by like not starting on time. Basically how you lose high value people is not being professional.
That's it.
Right?
Because they're used to being around professionals.
And how you attract high level people is by being professional.
That's right.
Right? So we always say this, excellence attracts excellence. And if you're having problems recruiting people, or if you're having problems like recruiting the kind of volunteers that you desire, that you've been praying for, you know, maybe it's because, I'm not saying what it is or isn't, but being professional certainly doesn't hurt. And in fact, what it does is it will allow you to attract the kind of people that you want on your team.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and I think that this, and it's even like from the way you dress. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if the guy leading the whole thing that I've carved out 4 hours of my night for, and I show up and he's wearing like flip-flops and shorts and a beat-up t-shirt that has like a hamburger stain on it, I'm right away thinking, what am I doing with my life? Yeah. You know, it's sad, but that's true.
You're the high caliber volunteer who's about to...
yeah, because it's like, I want to be presented with a challenge. Like, I want the people around me to make me want to be better. Mm-hmm. And this is your opportunity because you control this. No one... that's the beautiful other thing about the rehearsal. I didn't even put this in there, but Sunday's like... you're like second to the pastor, right? Like it's the pastor's vision for what happens Sunday from everything. But rehearsal's your baby. Like you control what you want it to feel and look and be like. You control that whole experience. So it gives you a chance to stamp your personality on your worship team, and that personality will carry over into Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's a very powerful thing because you're actually building a subculture to support the vision of the church as a whole.
Yeah.
And it's your chance to do it. You don't have to ask people for stuff. You don't have to get approval.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Your pastor doesn't care.
And it can be as excellent.
You're having
and
killer
high quality
rehearsals?
as you want.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't even call me.
Actually makes your pastor's life, it makes you way more valuable to your pastor.
Yeah. Oh, it does. It does. And honestly,
Or the board or whoever.
well, yeah, and what'll happen from this is you'll start to infect other members of your. If you're a church with like a children's ministry and stuff, they're gonna be looking at your ministry going, "Wow, you guys have really
your
stepped
stock is rising."
Yeah, your stock is rising. Number 2. And so one more final practical ways of kind of running rehearsals effectively. And we talked about this a little bit, and you can also download the samples, but make sure everything's ready. So, I talked about this in the professionalism, but make sure everything's ready, man.
Yeah. You mean like computers can like
computers,
have a problem
keyboards.
when you first turn them off?
Here's the deal. If we have rehearsal at 6:30 and my guitarists show up at 6:15 and I don't know where the cables are, strike one.
Yeah.
And then we hook everything up and there's no signal. Strike 2.
Strike 2, yeah.
Like you can
almost
fix all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's why we actually the church I'm currently working with is moving to another church to rehearse, and they're gonna lock in that time from 6:30 to 8. My first question was, can I get in there at 5? Because I want to turn stuff on, make sure things work, so that if all your musicians have to do is plug in and start playing. That's pretty sweet. You've gained a lot of credit.
You're gonna spoil them for every other church they'll ever go to in their lives.
That's true. You're gonna get some Christmas cards. You're gonna get some gift cards.